And now let's get you the latest update. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken to his Israeli counterpart, Benjamin Netanyahu. After talking to him, he posted on X, and I quote him here. He said, "Glad to speak with my friend Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and convey New Year greetings to him and the people of Israel. We discussed ways to further strengthen the India-Israel strategic partnership in the new year ahead. We also exchanged views on the regional situation and reaffirmed a shared resolve to fight terrorism with greater determination," unquote. Now, to get you more on this, I'm joined by the India correspondent Akshay Dongre. Akshay, two important points have been highlighted here. First, the bilateral relationship, the warm relationship that India and Israel shares. And second, united voice against terrorism. How do you look at this latest development, Akshay?
Well, this specific tweet also highlights the kind of importance that that India gives to Israel as far as its own shared concerns and ties with the countries are there. India and Israel both have shared challenges. They both have been victims of terrorism. They both have been fighting terrorism for decades now and have developed quite a warm relation when it comes to anti-terror cooperation is concerned, in terms of defense, in terms of trade, and there are a range of areas where both the countries are trying to come closer to each other. Prime Minister Narendra Modi specifically speaking to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, also highlights the importance that Israel gives to India and India gives to Israel when it comes to their shared bilateral relations are concerned, and especially given the fact that the region West Asia still is going through a lot of churn, a lot of turmoil with the massive protests that are taking place in Iran, the oil issue that is on a boil because of the Venezuelan crisis. Tensions still persist in the West Asian region, where India's key interests also lie, and that perhaps may be the reason why the shared commitment of fighting terror, fighting insurgency, fighting these kind of challenges remain on the top priority of both the countries, where cooperation by both the countries is the key to tackle these challenges. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has talked about the shared challenge of global terrorism, especially emanating from countries like Pakistan that have been a concern for both the countries, and the way both the countries can forge new ways to tackle this challenge that has been time and again resurging, threatening the peace in the region, not only in South Asia but in the West Asian region as well.
Also, how does this reflect on India's global prowess? Because when we talk about the warm relationship India shares, it's not only with Israel but with the rest of the world as well. How do you see that India building up so prominently?
Well, it's not just Israel and the region here as far as our neighborhood is concerned, but the speciality that India has is to maintain a relation with one country while also maintaining a relation and equally good ties with their adversary as well. We have seen this in the Ukraine-Russia conflict, where India, while maintaining quite close ties with Russia, it has maintained similar kind of warm relations with Ukraine, which has repeatedly called for India to initiate or rather play a bigger role when it comes to dialogue and diplomacy and resolving a conflict. Whereas on the same side, if you look at the West Asian region, India, as we have seen in this tweet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi openly talking about the close ties between the two countries. The bilateral trade has increased, defense cooperation has deepened, and the ties when it comes to anti-terror operations, they have significantly increased between the two countries. While at the same time, in the region, they have many adversaries like Iran, many adversaries in the region like Jordan and other countries as well, where India has tried to maintain an equal amount of tie, being a partner of the global South, the South-South ties that India shares with all of these countries, and try to find a resolution of the conflicts through dialogues and diplomacy, as PM Narendra Modi has always advocated, and not through a conflict. So it seems that this is yet another way of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and India as a country to resolve differences, get updates in the region, play a bigger role that India has been asked to play when it comes to these kind of conflict resolutions are concerned. Being the largest democracy and the fourth largest economy of the world, there are certain responsibilities that lie with India, and India is trying its best to fulfill that role and fill that gap that has been left after the major other powers have started going isolationist and talking only about their selfish interests.
Right from the year 2017, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Israel, to the current year and to the last telephonic conversation that happened in the month of December, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has time and again reiterated on India-Israel strategic partnership, and this has been mentioned in their latest phone call as well. How do you see India-Israel's strategic partnership getting a boost from this latest communication, Akshay?
Well, India's interest in West Asia are quite important when it comes to energy resources, energy ties, other trade areas as well. The diaspora that lives in millions of population in the region, our interests are quite strong when it comes to the West Asian part of the world. And any kind of turmoil, any kind of crisis, any kind of threats is not only a threat to the region but a threat to a global peace as well. Interests of India too. And Israel, while it's a smaller country when it compares to the other countries of the region, but it is quite a significant nation there that has been, fighting for peaceful settlement of all the people there. That has also been fighting against terrorism. That has been a key innovator of state-of-the-art defense tech, of many of the innovative solutions of the problems that we have in the world today. And it has been more than willing to share this tech with countries like India that share the same challenges, share the same concerns. Similarly, when it comes to India, India has been pioneer in its own industries such as pharmaceuticals, healthcare. It's a great history with large tourism industry and other kind of industries as well, where it has also been quite willing to share its own expertise with Israel. So it's a mutually beneficial relation that both the countries share. And with this call that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with this call that he did with Benjamin Netanyahu, it was a shared reiteration of the ties between the two countries, and sort of a friendly call as well, where the two leaders, at a level of personal relation as well, spoke to each other, talked about each other's challenges that they are sharing right now, updates about their countries, and wishing each other Happy New Year.
And also a very important point here, Akshay, that it is not only during bigger events like G20 or others, but also during important visits. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting multinational countries, he always affirms and he always is very vocal about his fight against terrorism, and that is equally echoed by the other parties as well. Straight from the Ethiopian Prime Minister and now to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, how do you see the world uniting against their fight on terrorism, Akshay?
Well, it's quite important to ensure that the world's attention does not move from the threat that terrorism is. How it can hamper the global peace, how it can, it brought the entire world to a major crisis after Pakistan continued with its terrorist activities. After the Pahalgam terror attack, it was a full-blown attack by India. India destroyed several of the bases, and had it not been for us to stop at a point in time, the conflict could have escalated to a much larger extent. It would have threatened the global peace in the region. Both India and Pakistan are nuclear-armed countries, and Pakistan being one of the biggest sponsor of terrorism, a country that has been on grey list consistently by FATF. This issue is much bigger than the countries have been paying attention for, and that has been the continuous and consistent endeavor of India to ensure that the issue of terrorism is highlighted time and again, so that the world keeps on striving to find a solution to that.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us and getting us the latest on this latest development and the phone call that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had.